A 25-hour speech on the Senate floor that made history, by the way. The most expensive judicial race in history, that was in Wisconsin. President's tariffs and a tanking stock market that followed. Here are just some of the big moments from the week that was.
When is it going to be enough? My voice is inadequate. My efforts today are inadequate.
Our courts are not for sale.
Elon came in and we said, we need you to make government more efficient. We need you to shrink the incredible, vast bureaucracy that thwarts the will of the American people, but also costs way too much money. And we said that's going to take about 6 months.
Historically, tariffs have also led to political decimation.
We really inherited a terrible economy.
I want to bring in our political panel back by popular demand. I mean, like recent demand, like from 5 minutes ago. Kevin Sheridan, Joel Payne. Joel, I want to ask you. So, Elon Musk, before the Tuesday election results were in Wisconsin, the state Supreme Court race, said that that would be a test of the future of Western civilization. The candidate that Elon Musk backed, the Republican, lost by 10 points. Does Western civilization survive?
Man, I sure hope so. No heavy stakes on it or anything like that. You know, Major, just looking at all the that montage about the week that was, it feels to me like the story of the week is this is the week that the opposition kind of entered the chat. In a lot of ways, I think the opposition to Trump has been somewhat of a bystander, somewhat by force because of the will of the electorate last November, but also just trying to figure out, what does this look like? What do I do?
What does it sound like?
What do I do if I'm Cory Booker in the Senate? How do I defeat Elon Musk and his money in Wisconsin? How do I counter what Donald Trump is doing every day and cut through? And it feels like, and this is not permanent, and I think a lesson we should all take is really nothing in politics is permanent.
Right. But there's some rallies this weekend.
For a moment, there are rallies this weekend. Full disclosure, I work with Move On. Move On is one of the organizing,
what do you expect from those
organizations. Big, over 500,000 people across the country. 1,300 events. So this is, I think, the week that the opposition kind of re-enters the chat. And I think it'll be an interesting moment to see, okay, so now how does the political environment readjust to that?
And Kevin, I guess the big question is, do they get let into the Signal chat room?
I would differ on that.
Please.
I think it's
strenuously,
always,
if you can.
It is currently Trump versus Trump, not Trump versus the Democrats. Cory Booker's stunt, 25 hours breaking Strom Thurmond's record, is pointless. I didn't even know what he was talking about. He was crying on the floor. He was talking about what he ate. I had no idea what that stunt was even for. But if you're a Democrat,
and when you say
if Democrats are feeling better, then maybe they are. But
when you say Trump versus Trump, what do you mean?
It's good Trump, bad Trump. It's when he, if he can stay on his message, if he can stay on his program and his agenda and moving forward and showing results. He's all about results. Republicans are going to be judged on the final impact to the American economy and the global security of the world. And if he can get this tariff thing figured out, they can get their bill passed, that will be the ultimate deciding factor, not what Democrats are doing. Because right now, Democrats don't have a message.
It's funny. I remember what Strom Thurmond's 24 hours was about.
That was a filibuster. This was just an extended speech.
It was a filibuster, but I remember what it was about.
Yes, the Civil Rights Act.
Yeah. So back to kind of current
civil rights-related legislation, yes.
You talk about Trump versus Trump. I don't disagree with that. I think you're right. I think the president can be his own worst enemy. But I think the theory for a lot of Democrats has been Donald Trump is going to give you opportunities. He is fundamentally, politically not very, politically, together in terms of being able to keep an argument and keep a coalition together. And I think he proved that, in his first term as president. And I think he's proving it again now. And those opportunities that Democrats are going to get to come to them, I think
he's a colossal, world-changing figure. That the only guy that
sure is after this week.
So I want to play for you something that's not Washington, D.C. based. It's New York City based, because there's a fascinating mayor's race going on. And Eric Adams, the current mayor, put out a video after the charges against him were not only dismissed, but dismissed permanently, meaning the Trump Justice Department could not keep them in abeyance for further use, whatever that might be. Let's listen.
I know that the accusations leveled against me may have shaken your confidence in me, and that you may rightly have questions about my conduct. And let me be clear, although the charges against me were false, I trusted people I should not have, and I regret that. But the issues I face are nothing compared to yours.
You two gentlemen have an experienced life in helping politicians articulate something that is uncomfortable, that they need to get on the other side of. How did he do, Kevin?
I thought that was weird because he had been saying, what, these are just some Turkish airline upgrades. And the case seemed flimsy to me. That sounded like he was guilty of something. I don't know what he's saying there. Look, he's gonna probably lose to Andrew Cuomo, and that'll be that. That'll be the last we hear of him.
Joel?
Look, I think this is the only move for him, right? There's really no future for him in the Democratic primary.
Right, he's running as an independent.
He's running as an independent.
Yeah.
So the only move for him is to really run as an independent. Look, I imagine that there is
To Kevin's point, he sounded guilty.
Sure. I mean, he sounded guilty to me kind of before that, but we'll maybe it'll eventually come in front of a judicial body where they can, weigh a verdict on that. But the only way forward for him is as an independent. I don't think he has much of a chance against whether it's Cuomo or whether it's one of the other Democrats that are running. I do think, however, you are going to see a lot of, folks who maybe don't find themselves at home in either Democratic Party. I think that independent route will be one that you might see a lot of folks, try to take up.
Kevin, before we wrap up, let's just talk about what you imagine, none of us know, the short-term future of Elon Musk is in terms of visibility and the role within the Republican Party in the Trump White House.
I think Trump still likes him, and I think he'll still be out in front in some way. But the Wisconsin wasn't great. That's one case of.
And Joel, very quickly, you hope he's right, don't you?
Pennsylvania, and I think he'll be around for a while.
He likes his money. That's what Donald Trump likes, and I think he'd like to keep his money engaged in Republican politics.
He likes him too.
Joel Payne, Kevin Sheridan, have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.